At 7:12 on a Tuesday morning, my fiancé ended our engagement with 11 words. After your last warning and those roses, there will be no wedding. Before I could call her, a florist asked why I had sent 24 red roses with a card that read, "You can cancel the wedding, Linda. You cannot walk away from me." The card was signed with my name. I had not ordered the flowers. And until that moment, I had not known Linda was thinking about canceling anything. I read her message again while the woman from the flower shop waited on the line. "Mr. Whitaker," she said, "are you still there? Who gave you my number?" The recipient did. She refused the delivery and said the order was being used to frighten her. "Your name is on the card." "My name may be on it. My words aren't." There was a pause. "Sir, I'm not trying to accuse you. I'm trying to keep this from happening again." I asked her not to throw away the card or delete the order. Then I wrote down the shop's address, put on the same shirt twice without noticing, and drove across Winston-Salem before I made the mistake of going to Linda's house angry. At 68, I knew anger could make an innocent man look guilty. For 31 years, I had inspected city buildings. My job had taught me that the first explanation was often the easiest one, not the right one. A water stain could come from the roof, a pipe, or a window 3 floors above. If you started tearing into walls before tracing the path, you usually destroyed the evidence you needed. Someone had put my name on those roses. Before I asked why, I needed to know how. The flower shop was called Briar and Bloom. I recognized it as soon as I stepped inside. 5 months earlier, I had ordered Linda's engagement bouquet there, yellow roses, not red. The owner, Nora Ellis, met me behind the counter. She was in her 50s, with silver-framed glasses and the careful voice of someone who had already decided not to take sides. She placed the returned bouquet on a work table between us. The roses were so dark they looked black around the edges. "This is the card," she said. My full name was printed below the message. Paul Whitaker. That isn't my signature. It wasn't handwritten. The message was entered online. Through my account? No, it came through an account called Brooks Family. Brooks was Linda's last name. "Who controls it?" "I can't give you the account details without the owner's permission, but the order used your name and phone number as the sender." I looked at the roses again. Was this the first order? Nora took off her glasses. It was the third. That changed everything. The first bouquet had been delivered 26 days earlier. The second came 12 days after that. Linda had accepted both. What did those cards say? "I'm not comfortable reading private messages to you. Someone is sending them under my name. I understand, but Linda needs to authorize the release." I asked how the orders had been paid. "Gift credit attached to the family account." "And today's?" "Same account, same credit." "Did the person order from here?" "Online." "Can you see where?" "Not from this screen." Nora slid the final card into a clear envelope and wrote the order number across the top. "I'll preserve all 3 records. I've also locked the account from ordering under your name. That is what I can do until Linda contacts me." As I turned to leave, Nora stopped me. "Mr. Whitaker, the first 2 bouquets weren't red." I looked back. "What were they?" "White, then pink." The color changed with the messages. Whoever had done this had not sent one angry bouquet. They had built a story. I called Linda from the parking lot. My call went straight to voicemail. I tried again from the number of a diner we both used. She answered on the second ring. "Hello? Linda, don't hang up." Silence. "I didn't send those roses. You told me you would say that. Who told you?" She ended the call. That sentence followed me all the way to her townhome. "You told me you would say that." It meant someone had prepared her for my denial. Linda's daughter, Rachel, opened the door before I reached the porch. She was 38 and still wore her blue hospital scrubs. Her arms were folded, and her phone was already in one hand. "You need to leave." "I need 5 minutes with your mother. She doesn't want to see you." "Then let her tell me from the doorway." "She already told you in writing." I could see Linda's shadow move behind the living room curtain. "Rachel, somebody ordered flowers under my name." And somebody sent me messages from your number. That was the first I had heard about messages. What messages? Don't do that. Do what? Act confused now that Mom finally believed me. She lifted her phone, not quite pointing it at me, but making sure I understood she could record. I'm asking you once, leave. I wanted to push past her words. I wanted to call Linda's name and make her look me in the eye. Instead, I took an envelope from my truck, wrote the florist's order number and Nora's name on the back, and placed it on the porch. Ask your mother to call the shop herself. She doesn't have to believe me. Rachel looked at the envelope but did not pick it up. The wedding is over, Paul. Maybe it is. But my name is still mine. I drove away without seeing whether Linda came to the door. Our wedding was supposed to take place in 5 weeks. Linda and I had met 3 years after my wife, Anne, died. I had gone to a Saturday volunteer event at the county library because my son, Matthew, said I had become too good at eating dinner alone. Linda was organizing donated books. I put biographies in the gardening box, she corrected me, and we argued for 10 minutes before either of us noticed we were enjoying it. She had been divorced for almost 20 years. I had been a widower for 6. Neither of us needed rescuing. That was what I loved about her. We had our own houses, our own routines, and grown children who had stopped asking permission long before we met. We planned a small wedding at Renolda Gardens, followed by a 6-week trip through Tennessee and Kentucky. Afterward, Linda would spend more time at my house, but we had not decided whether to sell hers. Rachel hated that uncertainty. She had separated from her husband the year before. Her children, Eli and Sophie, were 8 and 5. Linda picked them up from school 4 afternoons a week, kept them every other Saturday, and covered whatever happened when Rachel's hospital schedule changed. I had never asked Linda to stop. I had asked Rachel to stop assuming she never would. 3 months before the wedding, Rachel arrived 40 minutes late to pick up the children while Linda and I were supposed to meet a photographer. Linda canceled the appointment. The next week, Rachel did it again. I took her aside at a diner and said, "After the wedding, your mother won't be available on demand. You need a backup plan." Rachel stared at me across the table. "You've been here 3 years. I've been her daughter for 38. This isn't a competition. Then stop keeping score." That conversation had been sharp, but it had not been a threat. Now Rachel claimed I had sent messages. At noon, Linda's older sister Carol called me. "What did you say to Rachel?" "At the diner, or in the messages I never sent." Carol exhaled slowly. "So you know about them." "I know they exist. I haven't seen them." "Linda has." "Have you?" "Screenshots." "From what number?" "Your name was at the top." "A name is not a number." Carol went quiet. "Paul, there are 3 weeks of messages." "Then there are 3 weeks of evidence. Ask Rachel to show you the original thread, not pictures of it." "She said the phone stopped working." That answer came too quickly. "When?" "Yesterday. The day before the last bouquet." Carol did not respond. I told her about Breyer and Bloom and the 3 orders on the Brooks family account. "Linda knows that account," Carol said. "Rachel set it up years ago. We use it for birthdays and funerals. Then Linda can request the order history." "She isn't in a condition to investigate you." "I'm not asking her to investigate me. I'm asking her to inspect an account in her own name." Carol promised nothing. At 4 that afternoon, she called back. Linda would meet me the next morning at a coffee shop. Carol would sit with us. I was not to come to Linda's house or contact Rachel. I agreed. Then Carol added, "Paul, if this turns into you trying to make Linda choose between you and her daughter, I will walk her out." That choice is exactly what someone wants her to think I'm demanding. The next morning, Linda arrived without her engagement ring. She looked as if she had not slept. The pale mark around her finger hurt more than I expected, but I did not mention it. Carol sat between us at a corner table. Linda placed a folder in front of me. Inside were photographs of 3 flower cards. The first read, "You do too much for Rachel. After the wedding, that ends." The second said, "If your daughter makes you choose, Make the right choice. The third was the one Nora had shown me. You can cancel the wedding, Linda. You cannot walk away from me. All three were signed with my name. I did not write any of these. Linda watched my face. Rachel said you warned her not to interfere with our plans. I told her to arrange backup childcare. She showed me what you sent after that. Linda opened her phone and turned it toward me. The screenshots showed a conversation saved under Paul Whittaker. My engagement photograph appeared beside every gray message. You have used your mother long enough. Once we are married, you do not call her every time your schedule falls apart. If you make Linda choose between our plans and your emergencies, there will not be a wedding worth having. Then came the line that made my stomach tighten. People think they know me because I stay calm. They should not confuse calm with weakness. That last sentence is mine, I said. Carol leaned forward. So you admit it? I said it to Rachel at the diner, out loud, not in a message. Linda's expression changed. You never told me that. Because I was talking about boundaries, not threatening anyone. She has a recording. Linda pressed play. My voice came through the phone. If you keep making Linda choose between our plans and your emergencies, there won't be a wedding worth having. The recording ended. Hearing my own voice made me understand why Linda had believed her daughter. It also made me remember what had come immediately before that sentence. Play the beginning. That is the recording. No, it isn't. I looked at Linda. Rachel told me if you loved her, you would keep canceling our plans whenever she needed you. I said every time she forced you to choose, she was damaging both relationships. Then I said, what you just heard. Carol folded her arms. Convenient. Ask for the full recording. Rachel says that is all she recorded. Then ask why she started recording before I said the one sentence she needed. Linda stared down at the screen. I could have attacked Rachel then. I could have listed every late pickup, every interrupted dinner, and every weekend Linda had surrendered. Instead, I asked one question. Have you seen the phone that received these messages? It broke, Linda said. Have you seen a phone bill showing my number? No. Have you tapped the name at the top of the conversation to see the actual number? They're screenshots. Exactly. Carol looked from Linda to me. Are you saying Rachel manufactured all of this? I'm saying somebody did, and every piece of evidence has been handed to Linda as a picture, a cropped recording, or a card with typed words. Linda pulled the folder back. Why would my own daughter do that? I could see the fear behind the question. It was easier for her to believe I had changed than to believe Rachel had planned this. I don't know. You told me you thought she depended on me too much. I do. You wanted us to leave for 6 weeks. We planned that trip together. And you said there would be no wedding if she kept making me choose. I said there would be no wedding worth having. That was unfair and angry. I should not have said it that way. Linda's eyes filled, but her voice stayed steady. You understand how this looks. I do. That's why I'm not asking you to put the ring back on. She looked up. What are you asking? Call Nora. Open the family flower account. Ask for the original orders. If they point to me, I will leave you alone. And if they don't, then we find out who spoke in my name before they do it again. Linda did not agree to marry me. She did call the florist. That was the first crack in the lie. Nora joined us at the shop that afternoon. With Linda's written permission, she printed the order history. All 3 bouquets had been purchased with one $180 store credit. The credit had been loaded onto the Brooks family account on April 29th. Who bought it? Linda asked. The transaction was in person, Nora said. Cash. Can you see which branch? Nora pointed to the code. North side. That branch was 4 miles from Rachel's hospital. It was also near hundreds of other businesses. By itself, the location proved nothing. Then Nora showed us the account profile. The primary email belonged to Linda. The recovery phone ended in 2194. Rachel's number. Linda sat back. Rachel created the account for me. Of course her number is there. Exactly, I said. It explains access. It doesn't prove who used it. I did not want Linda to think I was turning every fact into a verdict. Nora opened the delivery records. The first order had been left on Linda's porch. The second had been accepted by R. Brooks. The third had been refused by Linda. Rachel was at my house when the second one came, Linda said quietly. She told me to keep the card. Carol asked for the exact time, 4:46 in the afternoon, Nora said. Linda closed her eyes. That's when she brings the children. Again, it was suspicious. Again, it was not proof. Nora printed the message entered in the delivery instructions for the final bouquet. Do not call before delivery. If there is a problem, text the sender at 336-555-7731. That was not my number. Can you tell us who owns it? Carol asked. No, but I can tell you it appears on all 3 orders. I wrote the number down. Call it, Linda said. Nora did. We listened to 4 rings before a recorded voice said the customer was unavailable. There was no name. Linda looked at me. For the first time since her breakup text, I saw doubt aimed somewhere else. Then Rachel called her. Linda answered at the counter. Mom, where are you? With Carol. Where? Linda glanced at me. Why? Rachel's voice grew louder through the phone. Paul came to my hospital. I had not. What? Security said a man matching his description asked for my schedule. Linda looked straight at me. The doubt disappeared. I have been in this shop for 40 minutes, I said. Rachel went silent. Is he there? She asked. Linda ended the call. Nora pointed toward the ceiling. Our cameras cover the front door and register. They will show exactly when he arrived. Carol checked the time. And the coffee shop has cameras. Paul was with us before this. Linda called the hospital security desk herself. No one had asked for Rachel. There had been no report. Rachel had invented a new threat the moment she realized her mother might be checking the old ones. That should have ended the question. It did not. When someone you love tells one impossible lie, your mind does not immediately discard every year that came before it. It searches for an explanation that will save the person. Linda decided Rachel must have panicked. Carol decided Rachel might have misunderstood something security said. I decided not to argue. Instead, I photographed the printed order instructions and left. That evening, my son Matthew came to my house. He was 41, an accountant, and had inherited his mother's habit of becoming quieter when he was angry. He put his phone on my kitchen table. Rachel called me. I assumed she would. She says Linda ended the engagement because you have been harassing them. She sent you the screenshots. Yes. Do you believe them? Matthew looked at me for a long time. I believe the recording is your voice. It is. Did you threaten her? No. Did you tell her she was using her mother? Yes. Did you tell Linda? Not until today. He picked up his phone. Then you gave Rachel a piece of truth she could wrap the lie around. That hurt because it was accurate. I had not created the messages or the roses, but I had let my dislike of Rachel's behavior become sharper than my respect for Linda's right to handle her own daughter. I should have talked to Linda first, I said. Matthew nodded. That doesn't mean you did the rest. I showed him the flower records and the number ending in 7731. He enlarged one of the screenshots Rachel had sent. This picture is cropped, he said. I know. Not just at the top. Look here. At the bottom of one message, part of a phone number showed beneath the contact card. Only 4 digits were visible. 7731. The number that had supposedly sent threats to Rachel was the same number used to order Linda's roses. It was not my phone. It was one phone controlling both sides of the story. Send this to Linda, Matthew said. If it comes from me, Rachel will say I altered it. Then I'll send it. He wrote one sentence to Carol. Please compare the number in Rachel's screenshot with the contact number on the florist order. 5 minutes later, Carol called. Her voice was different. Linda wants to know if you can come back to Briar and Bloom tomorrow. Why there? Nora found something. The next morning, Nora locked the shop door behind us and turned the sign to closed for inventory. Linda, Carol, and I stood around the same table where the final bouquet had been laid. The roses had begun to open. Nora set down a receipt. I called the Northside branch. The gift credit was purchased at 5:18 p.m. on April 29th. Their cameras keep recordings for 60 days. Linda gripped the back of a chair. Nora turned a tablet toward us. The video showed a woman in blue hospital scrubs at the register. Her face was partly hidden as she looked down at two children beside her. I recognized Eli's green backpack. Linda recognized her daughter. Rachel paid cash for the exact store credit used to buy all 3 bouquets. No one spoke until the video ended. "She could have bought it for me," Linda said. Nora nodded carefully. She could have. But the serial number on this receipt matches the credit used for the orders. Could someone else have taken it from her? Yes. Linda was still looking for a door out of the truth. Then Nora opened the order entry notes. There is one more thing. The person who created the first order tested 3 messages and deleted 2 before submitting. "Can you see them?" Carol asked. Nora read from the screen. The first deleted message was, "You promised the wedding would not change anything. Prove it." The second was, "Tell Paul the children still need you." Neither message sounded as if it came from me. They sounded like the thoughts of the person sending the flowers. Linda sat down. "I need to talk to my daughter." "Then talk to her," I said. "Come with me." I shook my head. "If I'm there, she will fight me. You need to hear what she says when she can't make me the reason." Linda looked at the flowers on the table. "And what am I supposed to ask?" "Ask for the broken phone." That afternoon, Linda went to Rachel's apartment with Carol. I waited at home. Waiting was the hardest thing I had done since the first message, because by then I had enough evidence to accuse and no authority to demand an answer. At 6:14, Linda called. She says she threw the phone away. When? Yesterday morning. Before or after she called you from it? Linda was silent. I continued. The hospital claim came after we found the order number. If she used the same phone for that call, it wasn't broken. She called from her regular phone. Then ask why the threatening number and Florist contact are the same. She says you must have used a prepaid phone, and she happened to buy the exact gift credit that paid for the flowers. She says it was supposed to be my Mother's Day present. She says the card disappeared from her purse. Every fact had acquired a new excuse. Then Linda said, "Rachel wants us to leave." The line went dead. 10 minutes later, Carol called. "Rachel refuses to let Linda call 7731. I stood up. "Where are they?" "Still at the apartment. Rachel says the number belongs to you, so calling it would prove nothing." "Then why is she trying to stop you?" "What do we do?" I looked at the number I had written on the Florist receipt. "Tell her exactly what you are going to do, then call 7731. Carol did not hang up. I heard her repeat my words. Rachel said something I could not make out. Then Linda dialed on speaker. There were 2 rings. Then, through Carol's phone, I heard a muffled vibration from somewhere inside Rachel's kitchen. The vibration stopped. "Take the children to their room," Linda said. Rachel did not move. Carol led Eli and Sophie down the hallway. Linda called again. The vibration came from a cereal box inside an open cabinet. Linda moved toward it. Rachel shouted, "Mom, don't!" Linda found the phone beneath the plastic bag inside a family-size cereal box. The screen displayed an incoming call from Mom. The number was 336-555-7731. No dramatic music played. No police arrived. No one confessed immediately. For almost a minute, all I heard through Carol's phone was the sound of 3 adults breathing in a silent kitchen. Rachel's voice cracked. "Mom, I can explain." "Not in front of them." Carol ended our call. I did not hear the confession until the next day. Linda asked to meet me at the library where we had first met. She wore no ring. I was glad. A ring would have made the conversation too easy. We sat at a table beside the gardening shelves. "Rachel bought the prepaid phone in April," she said. "She saved its number under your name on her regular phone and used a photograph from our engagement announcement." "Why?" "At first, she says she only wanted to show me that you were trying to control my time." "By inventing messages?" "She says she thought I would postpone the trip." "And the wedding?" Linda looked down. That came later. Rachel had learned that the hospital's subsidized after-school program would have a waiting list in the fall. She had missed the registration deadline, assuming Linda would continue picking up the children. Then Linda and I announced our 6-week trip. Rachel calculated the cost of a sitter, looked at her shifts, and panicked. She was already paying legal fees from the separation. If she could not cover evenings, she feared losing the schedule that qualified her for a promotion. She did not ask Linda to cancel the trip. She was afraid Linda might say no, so she made me say it for her. The first fake messages went from the prepaid phone to Rachel's regular phone. She showed Linda selected screenshots and claimed I had contacted her privately. When Linda defended me, Rachel used the exact words she had recorded at the diner. Then she bought the flower credit. The white roses were meant to look controlling, not frightening. The pink ones were stronger. After each bouquet, Rachel asked Linda whether she could really marry a man who resented her grandchildren. The final red roses were supposed to end the wedding. She typed the message while sitting in my kitchen. Linda said, "Why did she tell you I went to the hospital?" "She knew we were checking the account. She thought if she frightened me enough, I would stop." "Did she apologize?" Linda's eyes filled. "She said she was sorry she got caught." That answer told me more than an apology would have. "What happens now?" "Carol has the prepaid phone." Rachel gave Nora a written statement admitting she placed the orders. "She is paying the shop back." "That isn't what I meant." Linda understood. Rachel gave me her key to my house. I changed the passwords on the family account. She has to arrange her own child care after next month. "And the children?" "I am still their grandmother. I won't punish them, but I will see them because I choose to, not because someone builds their life around my inability to say no." It was the first time Linda had described the problem without using my name. Then she placed the engagement ring on the table. "I believed her without asking you one direct question. She gave you reasons. She gave me pieces. I assembled them into the worst version of you. I gave her one of those pieces." Linda looked at me. "You mean the recording? I should never have confronted your daughter as if your time belonged to me. I was right that something had to change. I was wrong to act as if I had the authority to change it. That does not make what she did your fault. No, but if we only talk about her lies, we learn nothing about us." Linda pushed the ring toward me. "I don't expect you to give this back." I closed my hand around it. 5 weeks earlier, that ring had represented a plan. Now it felt like a test neither of us should answer quickly. "The wedding is canceled," I said. Linda nodded, and a tear slid down her cheek. "Are we?" That was the question I had wanted her to ask from the first morning, but wanting it did not make the answer simple. "I don't know." She looked hurt. "I love you," I said, "but the flowers were not the only reason this worked. Rachel knew you were afraid marriage would make you choose between being her mother and being my wife. I knew it too, and we kept planning around it instead of talking about it. So what do? We stop planning a wedding and find out whether we can still tell each other the truth." For the next 2 months, Linda and I did not behave like an engaged couple. We met once a week in public. No ring, no new date, no promises made because silence felt uncomfortable. Some conversations were harder than the confrontation with Rachel. Linda admitted she had been frightened by how much her life might change. She wanted the trip, but she also feared being judged by her daughter for enjoying it. When the first screenshots appeared, they gave a voice to doubts Linda already had. I admitted that I had begun to see every request from Rachel as an intrusion. I was measuring love by how often Linda protected our plans. That was not partnership either. Rachel did not come to those meetings. She sent me a 3-page letter. The first page explained her childcare costs. The second explained her separation. The third finally said the words that mattered. "I made my mother afraid of you because I was afraid of losing what she did for me." I did not answer immediately. A month later, I wrote back. I told her I understood fear. I did not accept what she had done with it. I would not pretend the messages, recording, and flowers were a momentary mistake. They were a series of decisions made over 6 weeks. I also told her I would never ask Linda to cut her off. But I would not sit at the same family table until Rachel could speak the truth without turning her children or her problems into an excuse. That boundary cost me something. It cost Linda something too. Real boundaries usually do. Rachel found an after-school program through a church near the hospital. She changed shifts and lost the promotion she had been chasing. Linda helped once when Sophie had a fever, then went home after Rachel returned instead of staying to clean the apartment and prepare dinner. Nothing collapsed. That may have been the lesson Rachel feared most. Her life became harder, but it remained hers. On the date we were supposed to marry, I woke early and took the ring out of my desk. For weeks, I had imagined that day as either a tragedy or a second chance. It was neither. It was a Saturday with rain against the windows and no obligation to turn pain into a ceremony. At 10 in the morning, someone knocked on my door. Linda stood on the porch holding a small clay pot. A yellow rose plant grew from it. I looked at the flower, then at her. "Did you order that?" She almost smiled. "I bought it myself, in person. I kept the receipt." It was the first joke we had made about the roses. I opened the door. She did not step inside. "I'm not here to replace the wedding," she said. "And this isn't an apology." "What is it?" "A question." I waited. "Would you have coffee with me next Saturday?" Not marry me. Not forgive everything. Not pretend the last 3 months had made us stronger simply because we survived them. Coffee, 1 honest hour. "Yes," I said. She handed me the rose. The following Saturday, we met at the same coffee shop where she had first shown me the cards. Linda ordered tea. I ordered coffee. We left our phones face up on the table, not because trust required proof, but because neither of us wanted secrets to do our talking again. 6 months have passed. We are not engaged. Linda kept her townhome. I kept my house. We took a 4-day trip to Tennessee instead of 6 weeks, and Rachel arranged care for her own children. The first time Rachel and I sat in the same room again, she apologized without mentioning money, schedules, or her divorce. I accepted the apology. I did not tell her everything was fine. Forgiveness can begin before trust returns. People confuse those things because forgiveness sounds generous and trust sounds cautious. At 68, I had learned that caution is not cruelty. The yellow rose still sits beside my kitchen window. It has produced 3 new blooms. Sometimes Linda catches me inspecting the pot for a card. There never is one. That is what makes those flowers different. They do not speak for either of us. We do that ourselves now.